All right, so let's make a quick one here. Just want to go over some of the details for the dinosaur thing. I know you guys are already chewing on it. You guys might already have the Dino ready because it's all go, go, go. But I just wanted to go over some of the stuff, make sure, we're not getting ahead of ourselves on things, and just kind of show you what my ideas were on this. But I think you get most of it from the PDFs. So anyway, so let's get after it. I'll start with the Dino because you guys are chewing on that. It's going to be pretty self-explanatory, like I said, from the PDFs. You've got your Dino body, all the parts there. You got the backer pieces to mount it to the wall, and then we have the rock that goes behind it. So the whole idea is that he's off 0.6 of a degree to give a little bit of tilt towards the public. So it kind of causes things to be funky, but should work out. So step one for the big dinosaurs, you're just going to do the seam parts first and make sure they're clear in these channels here. And then once you get that sort of lords together, then you're going to come in with all these guys here. These are all the wall braces. For this Dino and the wall panels, I went ahead and broke all these up into different files because there's so much stuff. All of these, you're just creating these boxes that they just get riveted together, and then they get lords onto the actual panels, or they get lords onto the dinosaur. So that's kind of it. The only difference is these guys, unfortunately, were at a 0.6 degree tilt, so they're all kind of weird. Anyway, but you get them all built up, get them riveted together, and then you're just going to lords them onto the backs. This guy was fortunate enough to be able to use Clecos. You'll see when we get to the panels, we weren't able to use Clecos, so we had to use reference kiss marks. So loads of fun there. But anyway, so you're just going to do that, and then you're just going to lords on all the bracing just to keep his jaw. This guy here, kids me pulling on it. And then these guys here down on this area will be smaller. These ones will actually attach to the rock itself. So the rock is the same thing. This one's on there straight. So you can just go ahead and rivet these together, and then you're just going to lords those onto the rock. All of it gets 5/16 steel riv nuts because all of it is going to be basically stud mounted. And then again, for install purposes, all of this area gives you double stick tape plus the studs, but it gives double stick tape for everything, and it gives the ability to silicone it down and make sure it's not going to go anywhere. So that's that for the dinosaur there. And then the rock as well. So that's going to be, pretty straightforward on all of that. So, and then when you get to the panels, same thing. You're going to have that whole issue, like we said, where you're going to have to bend these up first. I'm not quite sure if you want to do the bending first, and then you're going to lords on all these panel backers, the stiffeners and all that. But it's going to be the same thing as the dinosaur, like I said, except you're just going to be using all these reference kiss marks to make sure everything's all lined up. Now, on the verticals, we have these like long verts here that I was able to put like an end cap kind of area where, you line it up at the end there and you line it up at the end there. On this guy here though, because I wanted the boxes to extend over the edge to help solidify or stabilize this seam. So when you go to put these panels on, it'll kind of rest on this. Because that way there was no reference for left and right, I went ahead and made these little grooves here, these little reference kiss grooves, and then they will line up with these notches here. So that's when you go to do the mounting bar up top, and you go to do these panels left and right. They will have little notches in them like that. You see that? These right here will line up. And that will give you your left to right alignment, and then you just make sure your up and down is within these bend scribes here, or these reference kiss marks here. That way we're good to go. And then just go ahead and lords it all on there really well. Then you're just going to put in these little braces here to make sure the stuff doesn't wiggle around. Give it a nice little chance of being, because this is all 063, so this gives it a chance of stiffening it up. And then the vertical ones here for all these boxes, they're all typical. So they're all the same. So you just rivet them together, and then you're just going to lords them to the back of each of these panels. And then you have your interstitial guys here. These are little braces. I have everything marked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. So you're just going to one big lords party. And then on the bottom here, you're just going to follow the arrows. These are going to be what helps actually attach these panels to the wall, so that way it doesn't, come off the wall, whatever. So you're just going to Lords these on at the bottom, and you're going to Lords this one onto the bottom. Now the ones that are marked wall, these just go directly to install, because install is going to just put these directly, they're just going to frap those directly to the wall. And then once this goes on there, they'll get down there and then they'll just frap, and that'll help hold it to the wall. So that's that. And then on the top here, you're just same thing, just follow the arrows, and you're just going to bend this up, and then you're just going to Lords it to the top inside the area here that's been scribed. This one gives you the end. This one extends over. And then same thing here. This guy goes all the way across, and then it helps stabilize. So this panel will rest on this a little bit. But it has notches again, so just make sure your notches line up, and you're just going to Lords it within the lines and make sure it stays. So again, because of the vinyl's on there, we couldn't do any Clecos, so it was a little bit sketchy. So again, one big Lords party for all the panels here. Make sure you got plenty of Lords, and just make sure it's nice and strong. And then the whole thing is 5/16 riv nuts in the back of all of these, all the way down. The 3T and the 3B are the panel top and bottom here. When power goes through, this is more for install, but when power comes through here, I went ahead and made a channel here. This is a 4-inch wide channel that will allow they'll be able to run like MC or whatever right through here, and then get into the bottom of the raceway. So I'll show you how that, we'll go over that during install. But I left that notch there. So make sure the 3T goes to the top and 3B goes to the bottom. 3B is solid, 3T has that notch. Technically, this is 2-piece here, but this will help hold it together. So that's that for that power thing. But again, that'll come in for install later. But you can see the top view here. You can see how that's going to work. You make those boxes, and then that just keeps the whole thing off the wall. So that's that, pretty much there. I think you guys got that all figured out. Just follow all the bend scribes. Hopefully it all works out for you. Good luck bending this up. Woo. And then, so we got the rock, and then, so now it's the raceway, and the lights. So we'll go over that. So essentially we made custom arms. We'll go over the arms first. So we made these custom arms, and everything is just rivet together. The top comes out without any hardware or anything. But basically it's going to be a wire way to get the wire through and come down into the raceway itself. So the raceway is going to be kind of down and dirty because you're not going to really see it. So there's no front face. The face is going to be closed up for enclosure purposes using the jig. So the full jig goes across the full thing, and you're just going to tack it up and just kind of clean it up a little bit. But it doesn't need to be super pretty because it sits behind the panel. So nobody's going to really see it. And then the back side, you're going to Cleco in the back corner there just to kind of help hold things together. You're going to tack that in. And then you have riv nut plates along the whole back side. So the front side is solid, no access. And then for the most part, you're not going to have any access inside this thing, but you're going to go ahead and tack these from the outside in place. And then these will be where you put riv nuts. And then once you get the riv nuts in there, then you're going to close the whole thing up for, accessibility for UL and all that, even though I don't think we're going to UL it. But you want to make sure everything's closed up. This will get Lords on to the back. That's going to seal it up. And then it also gives install a 1-inch flange to find studs, or you just use the included holes I put to just go ahead and nail this to the wall. So it's going to have 5/16 steel studs out the back like this here, but it also have the ability to also shoot like blue screws or whatever can work. Or if you want to do stud finder and drill your own hole and find a stud, that'll help hold this whole thing up. And then for the arms, it's real simple. You're just going to rivet everything together. It's a 2-piece design. This is permanently together in the front here. The bigger one goes to the front. The kind of mount closure on the back side goes to the back. You're going to use these braces to sort of bring everything together, and you're going to sandwich together all the brace and all of these three. So make sure you got the rivets that are long enough to go through everything. And then on the top, The top is just to hold the brace to the outer part here to make it look one piece. Like I said, the green lid or whatever is removable, so it does not get riveted in. And then I went ahead and made a little slot here. You're going to use a flathead screwdriver to peel this out. I didn't put any hardware or anything, just trying to save time. But if you need to, when you go to remove this and pull it out to access wires, you just take a little flathead, pull it up, and out it comes. And then I got a little notch here for how the wire goes through. So you'll see where the wire comes from this guy. It makes its way through. Now, the wire on this probably isn't long enough to make it all the way around and down into the raceway. So you'll have to come in with your own wire, probably just join in with the black and a white, and then come into the raceway itself. When it comes time to mount these guys, I went ahead and had a picture here. So what you're going to do is take these apart, and it comes apart where there's a socket inside with a collar, a nut that goes on the socket. And then this is called lamp rod. It's basically all thread, but it's made for lamps. And that runs all the way through, as you can see. Now, this isn't washered and nutted like that. I did this to keep this from flopping around. This guy just comes right off. So you're going to take these apart. Now, there's also a nut on the one that we got that is just like a spacer. It looks like a nut, a big old nut, but it's not. You just take this off. You take that thing off. We're not going to use that, I don't think. Just set it aside. Don't throw anything away yet, but set it aside. Then you have this star washer right here, and you have this nut. So get it to where it's all here. The socket's going to fall out with the thread on there. So make sure you hold on to that. Then what you're going to do is, let's see, where were we? There you go. So you'll see where you have the hole here. Boop. And then you're just going to push that lamp rod through, and you're going to sandwich that collar loose and make sure you're holding on to the socket down here. Push it up, and then you're going to take that star washer, and then you're going to take that nut, and you're just going to sandwich it inside this thing. And that's going to basically hold it all together. And then you'll have your wires. And like I said, you're probably not going to be able to reach those the black and whites down here. Also, as far as grounding, I didn't put anything for grounding, but if you guys want to go ahead and add a grounding screw through like one of these access ports. So from the top, you'll have these access ports that are open here. You can see them right here. So right there and right there. I would probably just drill a hole at the bottom and hit a green screw with a long green wire for the guys. If not, Install's going to have to do that because I didn't have anywhere else to put a green screw. And you can see where power is going to be coming through the bottom here. So once you get this all built up and it's basically good to go, and then you get the, we've got to finish this up. So when it comes to the base, how low can you go? You're going to take this base here, you're going to fold this up, and you're going to do these two guys on each side. They're going to cleco in here, and then you're going to rivet here and here. You have two rivet holes, and they're going to rivet into the sides of the vertical arms. So it's going to create this whole little arm leg thing. And then that's how this whole one piece goes. Then you're going to tack this whole thing together to hold it, make sure it's nice and strong. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of flexy. And actually, this bottom plate won't actually attach to anything unless you tack it to these two guys. So cleco it together, rivet it together. And then while it's clecoed, you're just going to go ahead and burn the orange guy here to the green guy here on both sides and make it nice and strong. And then that way it's going to be nice and sandwiched. So we get almost a 3/16 base plate right here to hold all of this up. For install, I gave a single hole up top. And then you're just going to nail that down with whatever you got. If it's going to be a toggler or if it's going to be blue screw or whatever works. Unfortunately, the spacing doesn't, we're probably not going to hit studs. You might luck out, but there's not going to be a stud right there. So, but anyway, so that's the whole idea. And then this gets frapped. Let's make sure we use the blunt nose screws because pointy screws with wires don't mix. Could scrape open a wire. Be careful. But you're just going to frap these into the top of the raceway like that. So that's how they install. And then one goes to the wall. So install is going to go ahead and put the raceway up first. And then they're going to nail these down, frap. And then they're going to hit a screw right there with those to hold the lamps up. and then we're going to run the wires. So like I say, you probably want to go ahead and do a black and white junction here, bring wires out and give them like a foot or two in here, and then they're going to distribute power. So power gets distributed from the bottom, and it's going to be coming in from the panels here. So we told them to drop one right here. So here's your power, like I said, and they're going to run MC through, and it's going to run right to the bottom of the raceway. And that's where I have that, that hole. So that's set up for MC cable coming in there. And like I say, you want to go ahead and maybe through here, put a green screw right there with a nice leash for them to ground and bond this thing so they can make their connection. And then I have openings on the top all the way along. So that way install can feed wire through, and then they're able to hit to all these points. And then it'll have top access always. So you'll always have top access. You won't have access to the bottom, because once this raceway goes on there and the panels cover it up, you won't have any access to the front or the bottom. You'll only have access from the top. And you can see where I went ahead and made sure those panels, the mounting is clearing all the holes. So that way you have access. So the panels mount in between where all of the access for the electrical goes. So that's that. I think that's that for the raceway lights. Lord's that on there. That's how you make the little stands there for the lights. I think that's all good. And then that's how you attach them. Oh, and then I have these guys here. These are just going to be beauty plugs. Look for these guys. You've got the 1/4 inch. They're going to be hog down an 1/8, and then you're just going to beauty cap them, kind of center them up and Lords them in there. Make sure you don't Lords the lid though. The lid is meant to be removable, so make sure you do it when there's no lid in there. That way we don't accidentally Lords that shut. So, but I think you guys got the idea there. So from there, we've got the panels, we've got the raceway, and we got the dyno. So from there, we're going to go to install, right? Yeah. So for install, I just made one big pattern. I hope it works. You know, otherwise we can talk about breaking it apart, see what's up, or maybe you guys can just slice it on the site. But the whole idea is you got the doorway, and it should line up with the panels, and then that should then feed off where the dyno and the rock goes. So the whole order of operations is that you're going to install this bar first. So again, like I said, you're going to have a whole bunch of studs, 5/16. I went ahead and brought those in. So for install and for fab, keep an eye out for 5/16 studs. I brought in 2-inch and 3-inch studs. You guys can choose which ones to use. I brought in the 2-inch because these studs for the dyno actually he has studs that actually go into the rock itself. So, but then that's the whole idea there. So depending, you guys can choose whether to use 2-inch studs, 3-inch studs, whatever you guys want to do. But all of these, I got enough studs for all of them. So it's up to you guys. Now, the whole idea though, is what you're going to do is put the raceway up first, and then you're going to bring in the light guys here, and you're going to go ahead and do, like I said, they're going to go ahead and install like that. So you're just going to frap them to the top, and then you're going to find that hole up here and screw something up top just to nail those down. And then once you have the light bar up and you have these guys up, you're going to go ahead and do these wall guys down here. Those guys are just going to, whatever blue screw, whatever it takes to get those nailed to the wall. And then that's going to hold the panels to the wall, along with all the studs and everything. But that's just to make sure they don't actually come off the wall. So then from there, you're going to start from this panel right here. You're going to get it centered up, and you're going to go ahead and nail it down once you get power. So yeah, before you put this panel on, you're going to have to run power to the bottom and get everything all dialed in first, power first. Then you're going to put this panel on first, because like I said before, this panel has these little arms that are going to stick out in order to help stabilize the seams, to give you something to stick these panels onto. So it's important that number 3 goes on first above the doorway. And then you're going to do this panel second, or this panel second, doesn't matter, but I'm just saying you do those next. This guy just goes by himself, doesn't matter. But you're going to do this one next, and then you're going to do this panel. So raceway, wall guys first, then this panel, this panel, this panel, and then this panel. And then everything should be good. And then you will be able to frap all the way along the bottom, these panels into this. And then along the whole top side, you're going to be able to frap all of these panels into the raceway itself. And that's how that's going to be secured. So hopefully that whole system's done at that point. Then you're going to go ahead and you'll have already had drilled all these holes. So then the rock is next. You're going to put the rock in, and then you're going to go ahead and put the dyno on, and then everything should be good. Now, the whole idea behind all of the panels and everything is when it goes to the wall, you see you have these guys here. This is a 3 1/4 inch wide thing here with the studs out the back, but it gives you ability to put a lot of white tape, so a lot of double stick tape, and then a lot of silicone. So the whole idea is studs, double stick tape, and silicone, this whole thing. So all of these right here give you the ability to put a lot of double stick tape, and that's a lot of surface area for silicone. So all the way down here, all the way down here, all the way, like all of this is double stick tape and silicone. And then these will keep it from coming off. Then the same thing with the dinosaur. You'll see that the dyno has all of this goes to the wall here, but this part is actually, there's nothing to, there's no studs in this area. But what you can do is double stick tape as well, like double stick tape the whole thing, but this will double stick tape to the actual panel. So I have it just right off the panel. So you can see where the green right here is the panel that you put on the wall. And then this right here is this section, has no studs, but you can go ahead and double stick tape and silicone this to the panel. So that will help hold down his head or her head, whatever, to the actual panel itself. And then this will make a step down to the wall. And then this is kind of structural with the studs and the double stick tape and everything. So you're going to double stick tape and stud everything. Same thing with the rock. The rock gives you these two areas here. All of this will be studs and double stick tape. So make sure you got plenty of double stick tape and plenty of silicone if that's what you're going to use. And then, like I say, you got your studs. And then that's pretty much it for that. As far as the dyno is concerned, it shouldn't go anywhere. But if you want to maybe shoot some screws here and there to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, I don't know if the central will be on there first, but you might be able to shoot a screw or two into the panels themselves to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. But other than that, I think we should be good. If you guys, have any questions or anything, but I think that's pretty much how it's going to be all put together. The pattern will be, I sent it over all in one. I don't know if you want to talk about breaking off the dyno and trying to do measurements or something, but I don't know. So I just did it the best I could as far as, where everything fits and how it works out. So anyway, but that's it. So if you have any questions, hit me up.
Check the technique. Check the technique.